In a quiet English village, the Corbyn family name still drifts through conversations like a chill wind. 11 official death certificates bear their names, spanning centuries, yet no one has ever found a single grave. Why were their burials never recorded? What secret kept their bodies from being laid to rest? This is the disturbing legacy of the Corbyns, and the mystery that refuses to die. In the late 1600s, deep within the rolling countryside of rural England, the Corbyn family held vast stretches of fertile land and controlled much of the local economy. Their sprawling stone manor, surrounded by dense woods, stood as a symbol of wealth and power. Yet, despite their influence, the Corbyns rarely mingled with neighboring families. They were known for peculiar customs. Heavy draperies kept their windows dark, and their gatherings were closed to outsiders. While villagers outwardly respected them, they also whispered unsettling rumors about what took place behind those high walls, hinting that prosperity came at a hidden cost. In the harsh winter of 1678, tragedy struck the Corbyn household. Thomas Corbyn, the eldest son and heir to the family's vast estate, was reported to have died suddenly at the age of 12. The official record stated fever as the cause, a common affliction in those days. Yet the villagers remembered odd details. No physician was seen entering or leaving the manor, and the church bells, customarily tolled to honor the dead, remained silent. Days passed, but no funeral procession wound its way to the parish cemetery. The burial register held no entry for Thomas, and no grave bore his name. Instead, the estate gates stayed shut, and smoke was seen rising from the manor's chimneys late into the night. Whispers spread quickly. Why would a family so prominent and pious conceal their own son's burial? And if Thomas had not been laid to rest, where had he gone? Over the next 2 centuries, the pattern repeated with unsettling precision. 11 Corbyn deaths were officially recorded, each bearing the proper government seal and signature. Yet every name belonged to a child or a direct heir, never a distant relative, never an elder. Each time tragedy struck, a death certificate surfaced, but no grave could be found. The local parish ledger, normally meticulous in listing every burial, contained only a blank space where each Corbyn entry should have been. Strangely, generous donations from the family appeared in the same church accounts, almost as if payment had been made to ensure silence. Villagers speculated endlessly. Some whispered that the Corbyns burned their dead to keep disease from spreading. Others muttered darker possibilities, that the bodies were hidden within the estate, preserved for reasons no one dared to imagine. Whatever the truth, the Corbyn name became synonymous with burials that never happened. The Corbyn estate itself seemed to mirror the family's unsettling reputation. Its windows were always shrouded by thick, velvet curtains that remained closed even in the brightest daylight, giving the manor a perpetually lifeless appearance. Servants who worked within its walls were rarely seen in the village and, when questioned, offered little more than nervous smiles and quick excuses, as though bound by strict orders or fear. On certain nights, villagers claimed they saw faint candlelight flickering behind the upper windows, moving from room to room long after the household should have been asleep. Some swore they heard muffled thuds or the scraping of shovels echoing across the estate grounds in the still hours before dawn. Guests invited for formal occasions described a strict rule: they were never permitted beyond the main hall. Whatever secrets the manor hid, they remained locked behind those drawn curtains and guarded corridors. In 1842, curiosity from beyond the village finally breached the Corbyns' veil of secrecy. A London journalist, eager for a sensational story, traveled to the remote countryside after hearing tales of missing graves and whispered superstitions. Poring over parish records, he discovered unsettling inconsistencies. The dates listed on official death certificates did not align with census reports from the estate. Some individuals declared dead were still marked as residents months, sometimes years, later. When he pressed villagers for answers, their reactions were uniform: hushed tones, darting eyes, and an oft-repeated warning: they don't stay in the ground. Undeterred, the journalist ventured toward the manor late one evening. He was seen entering the fog-shrouded gates but never returning. No article was ever published, and his belongings were later found abandoned at the local inn, as if he had vanished into the very shadows he came to investigate. By the early 1900s, the once dominant Corbyn line had thinned to a single heir, a reclusive figure rarely seen beyond the estate's overgrown gates. Then, without warning, he departed. Some say it was in the middle of the night. Others claim he left after a violent storm that shook the village. Whatever the reason, the manor was locked tightly behind him. Heavy boards were nailed across every window, and the great iron gates were chained shut, as though sealing something inside rather than merely protecting what lay within. Strangely, the property was never sold, despite its vast value. For decades, it stood untouched, sinking into decay while the surrounding village quietly avoided its borders. Those who strayed too close spoke of distant knocks, faint lamplight drifting through broken shutters, and, on certain nights, the sound of children crying somewhere deep within the abandoned walls. Today, the Corbyn estate is little more than a crumbling shell, yet it continues to inspire a steady stream of urban legends. Local teenagers, fueled by bravado and ghost stories, dare one another to slip past the rusted gates and explore the rotting halls. Many return pale and shaken, claiming they heard childlike voices calling from darkened rooms or felt sudden drops in temperature that chilled their breath. Some insist they saw shadows darting just beyond their flashlight beams, moving with purpose rather than chance. Whispers circulate that beneath the warped floorboards lie the missing bones of the Corbyn children, hidden there for centuries. Despite persistent rumors, no official excavation has ever taken place. Local authorities dismiss the property as unsafe and privately discourage trespassing, yet their avoidance only deepens the sense that something inside those walls is better left undisturbed. What truly became of the Corbyn dead remains unanswered. Were they the unfortunate victims of a relentless disease, quietly hidden to protect the family's reputation? Or was their fate tied to rituals and beliefs too grim to put into writing? Some suggest something far darker, an unspoken pact or curse that erased not just their lives but their very place in the earth. Until a single grave is found or their long-lost remains are uncovered, the Corbyn legacy endures not as history but as one of England's most persistent and unsettling whispers, refusing to fade with time.